YouTube, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to reveal my exact strategy to build a multi-million dollar real estate empire and where I'm at and where I'm going, who's helping me get there, the resources, the lenders, everything that I'm doing. I'm going to reveal it in this video. Let's get to it. All right, let's get into it. You see the title. Let's jump right into it. My real estate investing plan in full, foundations of a multi-million dollar empire. Now, what really motivated this video, actually, I have a very close cousin who's like a brother, my brother John. We were having a conversation about something, and he made a comment, and it wasn't like a negative comment at all, but I think something he said made me think maybe he don't understand the vision I have for where I'm trying to take the real estate investing. So you all on the channel, you know, we do marketing and AI solutions for real estate professionals, but I'm also a real estate investor, and I'm an early on investor. However, this is not where we're going to end. And the vision I have is so big that I don't think people really understand it. So I want to do this for myself and others to really show like what a full plan looks like. So we're going to jump into the plan overall, kind of the steps that I took to get started, how did I get funding for my first deal, and where are the areas that I'm looking to invest, and where do I see this going over the next couple of years. So let's definitely jump in. This should be fun. I want to reveal my mentors and who I've been learning from. I'm not holding anything back in this video. So the first thing, everything has to be built, brick by brick. And sometimes when you look at something that's really built in full, you see a big thing that's built and you don't necessarily consider what it took to do it. Well, this is something that we are going to be building brick by brick, myself, my wife, and I want to share it with my community, the people close to me, so that maybe this will inspire you, that no matter where you're at in your journey. And I think when you hear the origin stories of what really sparked my interest in real estate, it will maybe inspire you to get going and see that you can do this as well. All right, so let's just scroll down for 1 second. All right. In real estate, we're primarily doing this through two ways of investing, either fixing and flipping properties or buying and holding rentals, building up a portfolio of multi-unit buildings that, we net income on every month. All right. So in this video, I'm going to go through both fixing and flipping, buying and holding, what's the criteria for both, how we're making decisions on what to do, and like the money we can expect. So let me just kind of go through some criteria. We're going to start off with flip. So if you're not familiar with a fix and flip, it's taking a property for our purposes that is run down, in need of renovation. We're going to be using hard money primarily so that we can scale it. And I'll talk about that more in just a second. We want to have a purchase price plus the rehab costs being less than 70% of the ARV, which is the after repair value. We want to be able to complete the project in full in 6 months or less. And we want to have a net profit of at least $50,000. All right, so I just said a lot there. And if you're new to investing or haven't done it before, it may be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to just spend a little bit of time explaining these criteria to you. So number one, we want to run down properties that are in need of renovation. You kind of understand that from the whole concept of fixing and flipping. You get in a property that it can be the worst property in the neighborhood. It can be one of the worst properties, or just a property that's in bad condition or needs to be updated, preferably in an area that is seeing growth. Right? You want to be part of the flow of new investment into an area so that you can be sure when you are done renovating the property, you can actually get your money out of it. I'm actually get some of the drawing tools going too. We're going to pull out the pen a little bit here. So using hard money. You may not be familiar with hard money. What this is a form of loan, essentially, that you can get for the purpose of renovating a property. Now, I'm going to give you, I'll do more talks on hard money later on, but hard money lenders are lenders that lend to investors like myself, right? They have terms in which they're going to give you money to complete the purchase and the rehab of the property. And they're going to give you terms on how long that loan lasts. It may be up to a year. And you're going to have a certain amount that you put down on it. So let's say you're buying a property. I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of example here. And this kind of going to relate to this third bullet here as far as the purchase price and the rehab cost. So let's say the purchase price is $100,000 on the property. And let's say that the property will take a rehab of $80,000. So you do the math on that, right? That's $180K. What the hard money lender will do is they're going to basically write you a loan or give you a loan for this amount. Now they're going to require you to put some money down, and I'm just going to give you some examples here. So let me get my calculator. Let's say that you have to put down on $180,000. You put down 20%. So that's like you putting down $36,000. And then the loan would be for the rest of that. So it would be $144 in this case. And then you want to know what's the ARV after this is done. So let's just give an example here. I'm just going to spitball something out. Let's say that the property will be worth $300,000. So let me just kind of scroll down a little bit here. So if you do the math on this, 70% of 300K is 210,000. So you'll be well above that because your all-in cost here is 180. So it's actually a lot less than 30%. Part of the reason we use hard money and not our own money to do the rehab is because let's say you have $100,000 to invest. Maybe you got a HELOC, some kind of business loan. Maybe you just have that money saved up. Maybe it's from your 401k, wherever it's from. You're taking on a lot more risk by using your own money to do the flip. And it's also going to slow you down because you won't be able to scale as much. So when you get the hard money loan, you're only coming up with a fraction of that. So now we're putting down $36,000. They're going to give us the money to complete the rehab. But also with a hard money loan, there's a lot of built-in checks and balances. So when you go for a hard money loan, they don't just give you the money based off of your word. They're going to have their own due diligence to complete. They're going to actually look at the deal themselves and inspect it to see, does the numbers make sense for them, right? They're not going to just give you money on a project that they don't see it being worth it. They're not going to overpay for the property either. So they're going to get an appraisal done. They're also going to do a market analysis to ensure that after the renovation cost is done, it's going to actually be worth the amount that's going to make the deal worth it for them. So I like that because it's giving you as an investor another set of eyes that agree that this is a good deal. They agree that the numbers make sense. And then they're checking and balancing as the project goes on. We'll talk more about that in just a second. And then also, as you see here, the net profit must be at least $50K and completed within 6 months. So that's our criteria for doing flips. All right. We want to be able to get at least $50K out of it in 6 months or less. And it has to have, these criteria as far as the value. Now, when we talk about buying and holding, because our strategy is we can't just flip forever. I mean, you could technically do that. However, we want to be building up a portfolio of property. That's how you get money coming to you when you sleep, as far as rents. It also increases your net worth because you build equity in these properties that you own over time. You can then, leverage that to get bigger properties, et cetera. So we also want to have properties that we buy and hold, multi-unit buildings. So similar criteria here, right? We want rundown properties and need a renovation, so we can still get properties that are multi-family that need complete renovations or need a lot of work. We can still use hard money to this as well. We still want it to be, under the 70% rule as far as the after repair value. And ideally, we want these to be 2 to 4 unit buildings, right? Ideally 4 plus, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Then we have a net cash flow. So each buy and hold, we want it to actually net us at least $2,000 in profit every month. So you may think, what's the net? So think about when you buy a property, you renovate it out, you get it fixed up, you then get a mortgage on that property. So let's say you have a 4-unit building, you're paying a note of $3,500 a month for that building, right? After it's renovated, you're paying $3,500 a month. You have a 4-unit building, and you're able to charge each of those rentals for $2,000. So 2,000 times 4 is $8,000. You also put away money for expenses and overhead, your insurance and all of that. But let's say after all of that, your mortgage plus the extra expenditures, you're spending about $4,500 a month for this unit. But you have $8,000 in rents coming in. So now your net profit on a per month basis from that building is $3,500. So that would be us meeting that net cash flow of $2K, and that's per month, by the way, just to be clear. All right. Also, we want to be able to refi and cash out at least $50,000. We'll talk more about that later, but pretty much saying after we put the renovation in, we want to pull some of that money back out that allows us to go to the next property that we're flipping. It's making sense? Hopefully it does. Now, in both of these examples, I have certain markets that I'm looking at currently. So right now, my family and I, we have a 2-unit building that we're flipping in Chicago. It's a 2-unit and it's a flip. Also, if you probably know already, I'm from Detroit, and this is also a growing market that I plan to do some investing in. As far as the buy and holds, right now we're looking at Chicago just because it's such a healthy market of multi-unit buildings. I personally like it more than Detroit. So on the channel, you'll hear us talking about some buy and hold buildings that we're going to be doing in Chicago primarily. Maybe at some point we will expand, but that's the vision right now. So now let's jump into like the timeline. All right. So first 34 years, I'm 35 now, I'll be 36 and and in the distant future, right? Not too far. But this is who I kind of comprised and worked with to get to this point. And this is what I call the dream team. I'm going to talk more about these mentors and things of that in just a second. Because the first 34 months, like before you actually get a property, you are still going to be learning. Like, don't underestimate the learning. I remember for years, I was just watching from the sidelines, thinking that I wasn't making any progress. But I was making progress because I kept the vision alive, and I was continuing to build relationships and my knowledge on the topic. So before you do any kind of investing, like, you can be learning the game. You can be learning the game and setting up your vision, because your vision is what's going to separate you. People will not have your vision. So the reason I have such a clear vision is because I spent years during this first 34 years really setting it up. I look from the sideline and say, hey, once I have the money, once I have the access to do this, I'm going to do it. And now that I'm in the game, I'm so excited, but I'm like, yep, this is just the beginning. I'm not even like jumping for joy, going crazy, because I'm like, yeah, this is the first of hundreds. So I'm very blessed and appreciative of where I'm at, but I see the vision of where I'm going. So like, don't underestimate your first whatever years before you get your first deal going, because that's so important. So I'm going to share with you, some of the key players for me. So number one, I put my wife, because we're partners in this. We both are all into this. We all in on the vision. I would say I'm probably lead this effort, but she's right there. If I'm 1, she's 1A. We're together on this. So she supports, and we do this together. We learn together. We were learning together before we could do it. We learned together. Number 2, I'm going to go with my broker. So it's very important that you have a broker. And this is how I do it. There's a lot of different ways to do investing, but I have a broker because I invest out of town. So she knows the market. She's bringing me the deals. She also knows my vision. So I'm always telling her what I'm trying to do, and she's advising me and doing research to find things that meet the criteria and the vision that I have for my life. That makes sense? This first property that we got, we could have brought up a buy and hold, but for me, right now, it's not that important to be netting $1,000 or $2,000 a month when I can be building up a larger nest egg, so I have money to buy a 10-unit building that's going to net me $4,000 or $5,000 in 2 years' time. So I was more patient, but I had to. My broker knew that about me, so she knew. Okay, Chris, he's going to be interested in a property that can do this for him, because right now for him, he wants to do some flips to start, so he can continue building up his nest egg, so he can invest in larger, rentals. I know people that start off buying single family homes to rent, and that's cool for them, but that just wasn't the vision I had. I didn't want to have to, do something local, just dealing with one unit here and there. I wanted to go bigger, in my eyes, bigger. And I don't mean it's better, whatever. Don't take no offense when I say that, but I wanted to go for bigger units that would put me in that frame earlier on. But my broker knew that. Number 3 is your contractor. Contractors can make or break your deal. You have to have a trusted contractor that has done the work that you need done time in and time again, who's trusted, who can communicate with you, that's trustworthy, that can give you realistic numbers on what it's going to cost to do renovations, to do full repairs, all of that. And luckily for me, my broker introduced me to the contractor. So the 3 of us, actually the 4 of us, my wife, broker, and contractor, we're on a group chat with each other. So we're communicating almost daily updates on the projects. All right. Very, very important. Next, mentors and support. Like, you're going to need mentors. You're going to need like friends or people, coaches, people to teach you the game. Now, I also have books here. I'm going to talk about both, but you want to definitely have them both. And if you stick around on the video, I'm going to show you how you can actually get my full list of mentors and support by just clicking the link below. I have it all the way in the document for you. But let's go here. This is my number 1 real estate mentor right here. His name is Jamal King. You see his name down there. Can I write on this? Yep. Jamal King. Look him up. This is his book. I actually learned about him through another mentor of mine, Eric Thomas. He's a big-time real estate investor. His story is amazing, but I really learned the game and the intricacies from Jamal King, a part of his Make Real Estate Real investing course and community. So if you're looking for a community, check them out. I definitely recommend it, bar none. That's my number 1 mentor. This is where I learned. This is where got me really going. And I was in this program for years before I had the money to actually get my first project going. But I was learning. I was building relationships. I stayed hungry. Part of what I also did was I read books. And I had other mentors that would recommend me books. So these are just 3 of the books that I really, really love. The Multifamily Millionaire, Volume 1 and 2 by Brandon Turner and Brian Murray. Great books here. Definitely part 1, if you're starting off, is amazing. Part 2 gets into large multifamily real estate, but that's also great. And then you may have heard of the BRRRR method for investing. That's essentially what we're doing with our buy and holds. All right. Buy in, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeating. So when it comes to that process for the multifamilies that we're going to be buying and holding, we're essentially doing the BRRRR method, but we're just making sure that the numbers make sense for us. All right. But this is another great book by David Green. I highly, highly recommend these resources. And as I said, if you look below, click the link below, you can actually get access to this whole spreadsheet, as well as a document with all of the resources already for you. You can take a look here, and we're actually going to be adding things to it. Let's jump back. So that was like, all those things helped shape me and shape my vision on real estate investing. All right. And now we're going to jump into what we're doing now. So currently, right now, you may have seen part 1, and I'll put the link up if you didn't see the previous video when we did the first walkthrough of our first flip in Chicago. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. where I show you the walkthrough, and it was very, very stinky. You couldn't even, obviously you can't smell it through the video, but it smelled terrible in there. It's been a complete rehab. This project is almost near completion. Okay, so after this project is complete, we should net about 100K. I'm just going to use some rough estimates here for illustration purposes. But after that property finishes up, probably sometime in Q2, we'll add 100K to our nest egg and have about 140. All right. Now, what we're going to do with that 140, we're actually going to put this into more flips. My goal internally, I'm trying to turn this into, around 250 to 3 realistically before we get to our first, multifamily. So let's just talk about this. With these two next flips, what I learned in this first process is full gut rehabs. They take time. They're full gut rehab, right? But also, you get held up a lot by the city with inspections and different things of that sort. So for these next two flips, I'm actually still going to have my 50K criteria as far as the net. But what I'm trying to do is find projects that are a little bit quicker to get in and get out. I prefer to something around the 3 to 5 month range. So for that, the net profit doesn't have to be as large because I don't want projects that are as large in scope. So I just put down here 50 and 50 for these next two flips, taking us to about 240. Now, I really think this would be higher. And this timeline may be a little bit off. Maybe this takes until Q4. But the goal is that we have around 240 or higher going into Q4. And that's when I want to buy my first big buy and hold. My goal on my vision board, which maybe at some point I'll share that, I have on there a 10-unit building. Yeah, you may be wondering, like, man, how are you going to get a 10-unit building? Well, they're out there. And if we got to go smaller, 8, 6, that's fine. But my goal is 10 units. It will kind of depend on how well these next couple flips go. That's going to really determine that. But I want to just show you all a couple of things, some examples of some properties actually in Chicago. So I just put up some things so you can just see like the kind of properties that are there. Now these are these are like 2-unit buildings, right? So you can see this one right here, they have it on sale for 91. But if you look at the pictures, it's already completely gutted on the inside, which is nice, right? But that'll save on some of your costs, and it really just ready for the whole renovation process. So like this is something that I would love to get. Right now, we're just tied up into one project because if you look at this, according to what they're saying here, the ARV is 298. And then if you want to do your quick math on that, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but I want to just kind of educate you all. If you go 298,000, which I got this on the phone here, 298, and then 70% of that is 208, 2086. So what that would mean as far as our 70% rule, if we bought this for 91, I'm gonna just take that. So 208. Let me just do this. 298. I'm sorry, 298, 208, 600. I've got that number back. I'm going to actually subtract that buying cost of 91,000, and that leaves us with 117,000 that we could do for the renovation. That makes sense, and we'll still be well below that number. So like this is the type of deal you can find. I definitely know that this property could be renovated for that cost. All right, because we did our property. It took more work, and we did it for not too far off from this number. So anyway, this is the kind of deal I would be interested in, but I'm not in the market for this. But I just want to give you all some examples so you can see that there are things out here that you can be checking out. This is another building, a lot more work done here. Needed. But the properties are out there. And if you know you got the right team, the right investment strategy, you can get to it. So when I put this up here, don't think that I'm just, talking out of my, what to do this. All right. But also by Q4, we're trying to do another flip as well. So this would be the priority. If that doesn't exhaust all of our funds, which it shouldn't, because you always want to have the down payment money, your holding costs, etc. We'll talk more about that, but also I want to do another flip toward the end of the year. And then as we start off the top of 26, we're just kind of jumping back in. So we already have this flip finishing up. As this finishes up, we'll pull money back out. So when that happens, then we're jumping right back in with 2 more flips, and then the more buy and holds, and it's kind of repeating itself and doubling up. So my goal is that these become, what I'm calling them are, cornerstone pieces of our portfolio. These bigger rentals, right? Where we're talking 4 units, 6, 8, 10s that are netting us, around 4,000 to 5,000 a month, right? We want to just build those up. And the goal is by the end of 2026 that we have 3 of those in our portfolio, right? Adding in 1 in 2025 and 2026, we adding in 2. So if you can imagine, you kind of see the pattern here in 2027, which I didn't put it up here. But the goal will be to add 3 or 4 of those cornerstone pieces, and we'll still be continuing to do more and more flips as well. So this is like my overall strategy. If you look at it from like a high level view, I want to just kind of recap some things for you. Number 1, you got to learn the game, and this kind of connects with the training. I learned this criteria from the Make Real Estate Real. That looks ugly. I learned that from here. I didn't just make these numbers up on my own. Oh man, this thing is tripping. I didn't just learn these on my own. I learned the game. I learned it from Jamal, and also some other community that I recommend is by a group out of Detroit called Monopoly Bros. And I have their information inside of the PDF that you can download. But they also run a community and they teach investing as well. But I knew this criteria, so I knew what I wanted to do. And then I let my vision grow. I put the dream team together. I kept doubling down on my research and my education. I didn't just stop at this course. I want to be the best at it. You get what I'm saying? I want to be the best. I want to be better than Jamal. I want to have a bigger portfolio than him. Right? And it's not even like a competition. I just want to be the best that I can be. So to be the best, I got to stay locked in. When I was in those situations when I couldn't get invested, when I couldn't get funded, where maybe I didn't have the money or my credit wasn't where it needed to be, that's when I got into the books. I started buying these in audio books and hard copy. I kept my mind going. I kept my mind on the vision. When I had setbacks, I just stayed locked in. That's what I recommend for you. If you're into investing, you're going to have setbacks. Things are going to take longer, but you got to keep yourself motivated. Stay in contact with your team. Stay in contact with your mentors. Stay reading the books. Keep educating yourself on the actual market that you want to be great in. I knew that this, outside of business, outside of a job, will be something that could provide a certain lifestyle for us, but also build generational wealth. So I took it as a responsibility to really commit myself to it. So like back when I was mentioned earlier in this video, when I talked to my cousin, we were talking about this investing thing. I'm like, yeah, this is not just a one-off. Like I'm going to do this and then I'm going to take a vacation and, pay off student loans and I'm chilling. No. We're going to keep taking this as long as we can, just reinvesting it. All right. Now we'll probably do a little something, take a little bit of money, maybe a quick trip or buy something to feel nice for ourselves. But I'm addicted to the game. But I got the health, the strength. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep making money doing other things. And I'm going to keep taking this money and just keep growing it. And I know if I do that for the next couple of years, then we don't really got to quote unquote work the way that we think of work. That's my vision. So help yourself form your vision and stay aligned. And I'll be doing these kind of videos throughout the channel in addition to the marketing, the AI stuff, just to kind of give you all updates and things like that. But I want to just kind of give you all the vision so that, whatever you may be considering, that's possible for you. All right. I appreciate you being on the channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. If you haven't already, please share this with your network and stay tuned for more. It's Grow with Chris, and it's been a pleasure, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.